Joining me today on NYSE Floor Talk is Prasanna Dhore. He is the President of Data Commerce Solutions at Fiserv. Prasanna, it is wonderful to have you here. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited too.
Oh, so exciting news.
Yep.
You have launched the Fiserv Small Business Index.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
When you think of economic activity, what comes to our imagination? It's the tall skyscrapers and sprawling corporate campuses. But it's the small businesses, like the humble corner store in a community, or the family restaurant with 10 employees, or the independent bookstore, that really holds the pulse of the local economy. Almost 99% of the small business, or businesses are small business. They contribute about 45% of the GDP. And they employ 50% of the private workforce. But there isn't a good metric that really tracks the health of small business. And that's the reason we are introducing Fiserv Small Business Index.
So tell me, how will this index be different from the data that's currently available?
Many ways. I'll give you an example. The federal government releases what is called a monthly retail trade services survey, which is a survey of 14,000 businesses, and they estimate what this retail sales is, and they publish that about 6 weeks after month end. Our data is real time. We don't have to survey 14,000 businesses. We have 2 million businesses. So we can create a metric instantly to know what's happening with small business. We don't have to wait for 6 weeks to do that. This has huge implications for policymakers, for economists, so that we can really get that data and start planning, especially for federal government accommodative policies. This data will be very helpful.
And tell me, how does Fiserv know so much about small business?
And as you know, we serve about 2 million small businesses in every corner of this country, So we go in, if you look at that, there's something called NICS categories. Every NICS category, we serve the business. So we know exactly what's happening in restaurants, what's happening in accommodation, what's happening in every category to that particular last minute. So we have not only the granularity of data, but also the lack of latency of data. So we know exactly what's happening. Tomorrow I can tell you what happened yesterday. So that's the power of data that we have.
So you have this data.
Yeah.
Who benefits from this data?
Oh, everybody. Everybody. When I say everybody, I'm not exaggerating it. It could be the policymakers. It could be companies, strategic planning. It could be, you name it, every businesses, small businesses. If they want to compare how they're doing with their peer groups, they can look at it. So the entire spectrum of users for this application.
All right, so finally, Prasanna, tell me, how are small businesses doing?
Oh, they did much better in the last quarter, in the holiday season, than the big box retailers. Much better. And one of the things that we looked at was they did really well in what is called experiential services, like travel, movies, restaurants, all this aspect of it. So the small businesses are really doing well.
All right, well, Prasanna, wonderful to talk with you.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations on the launch of the index.
Thanks again for having me here.
Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk.